Ever feel like you're spending hours and hours studying, but honestly, nothing's really sticking? What if I told you the secret to learning faster isn't about more time, but about better time? Well, let's dive into a science-backed method that might just completely change the way you learn. It's called the 30-minute rule.
This right here, this is the core idea we're going to unpack today. It just flips the whole script on that old advice to grind it out. See, true learning isn't about endurance, it's all about efficiency. Okay, so before we get to the solution, we have to talk about the biggest misconception in learning, and that is the myth that just putting in more hours automatically means you're going to get better results.
And this really illustrates the difference. On one side, you've got the busy learners. We all know them. They fill their calendars up with sheer effort, they brag about pulling all-nighters. But on the other side, you have smart learners, and they fill their time with intent. They're focused on the results, not just the hours they log. And trust me, that distinction is absolutely everything.
So this brings us to the secret weapon that really separates those two types of learners, the 30-minute rule. This is the simple, powerful habit that allows smart learners to get so much more done in way less time. So what is it exactly? Well, it's a structured system. It's all about short, intense sprints of focus, followed by really deliberate rest. This isn't just some random tip I found online. It's a method that's specifically designed to work with your brain's natural rhythms, not against them.
And here it is. This is the magic number. One single, incredibly powerful learning cycle is just 30 minutes long. Not 3 hours, not an entire afternoon, just half an hour.
And here's the real kicker. You only need 2, maybe 3 of these super focused cycles a day to completely outperform someone who's just kind of passively studying for hours and hours. It's all about the quality of your focus, not the quantity of your time.
But to really get why this rule is so powerful, we need to take a quick look at the actual science of how our brains are wired to learn in the first place.
This is the crucial point. You know, we often think of our brains as these sponges that can just soak up information for hours on end, but that's just not how it works. Cognitive research shows our brain actually operates in waves. It alternates between these periods of high focus and then necessary rest. After about 30 or 40 minutes of intense focus, our ability to understand and remember things, it starts to plummet. If we look at the neurological level, this rule works because it hits 3 key triggers. First, that intense focus. It sharpens how your brain initially encodes new information. Second, actively trying to recall what you just learned literally strengthens the physical connections between your neurons. And finally, and this is the part we always forget, those short rest periods, that's when your brain actually locks in the memories and starts making those aha connections. You know, the best analogy for this is interval training at the gym. You wouldn't go and just lift weights for 5 hours straight, right? You do intense sets and then you rest. That's how muscles grow. Well, your brain is no different. The real growth happens during the recovery, not just during the strain. Okay, so we've covered the why. Now let's get practical and talk about the how. What does one of these learning cycles actually look like, step by step? So each cycle has 3 distinct phases, and they fit perfectly into that 30-minute block. First, for 25 minutes, you are in pure, uninterrupted focus on one single goal. No phone, no extra tabs open. When that timer goes off, you immediately shift to phase 2, 5 minutes of reflection. And this is key. You don't take a break yet. Instead, you ask yourself, what did I just learn? What was confusing? The third phase, the real rest, that comes after this whole 30-minute block is done. And let's zoom in on that focus phase for a second, because this detail is critical. You need a specific micro goal, a vague goal like do some AI reading. That gives your brain no target to aim for. But a clear goal like understand how neural networks work, now that gives your brain a mission. And that specificity makes all the difference in the world. And hey, if setting this all up feels like a bit of a hurdle, technology can actually make this way easier. AI tools can help structure your 25-minute sessions, they can build little lesson plans, or even create personalized quizzes based on what you just learned. It lets you focus entirely on the learning part.
So the theory is great, right? The science is clear, but honestly, the best part is that you can put this into practice immediately, like today. So let's wrap this up with a clear, actionable plan.
All right, here's your plan for today. First, just pick one skill. That's it. Second, set a timer for 30 minutes. For the first 25, you have to commit zero multitasking, just pure focus. When those 25 minutes are up, use the last 5 minutes of that block to summarize what you learned or quiz yourself. Then, step 4, take a real 5-minute break. Get up, walk around. Finally, just repeat that entire cycle once or twice a day.
This simple, consistent process, that's what builds mastery.
And really, that's the big takeaway here. This isn't about finding some magic hack. It's about fundamentally aligning your learning habits with how your brain is actually designed to operate. It's about working smarter, not just harder.
So I'll leave you with this question. Think about that skill you've been putting off, or that language you wanted to learn, or that concept you just really wanted to understand. Imagine making real, consistent progress every single day. What will you master?